Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching Race to Power with me, Molly Gambhir. A lot lined up for you on the show. First, we are focusing on the monsoon session of the Indian Parliament and getting you a quick roundup of what all transpired on day one. We'll also be shifting focus to the United States, the 6 months of Donald Trump's second stint in power. We will be taking you through all the action that unfolded in each month and getting you the bigger picture. All this and more coming up. Day one of the monsoon session of the Indian Parliament started with sloganeering, protests and adjournments. High-octane political drama played out in both the houses as soon as the proceedings started.
अपनी सीट पर जाकर बैठे सरकार हर मुद्दों पर जवाब देना चाहती है सदन चलना चाहिए सदन पर चर्चा होनी चाहिए संवाद होना चाहिए आप तख्तियां लेके नारेबाजी के लिए यहां पर नहीं आए सदन नियमों प्रक्रियाओं से चलता है नियम प्रक्रिया में उठाए गए
The opposition parties disrupted the business in both houses, demanding Prime Minister Narendra Modi's statement on the Pahalgam attack and the aftermath of Operation Sindoor. The disruptions forced multiple unscheduled adjournments throughout the day. In the House of the People, members of the opposition called for an urgent debate on the cross-border military escalation. The opposition demanded a direct response from Prime Minister Modi on Donald Trump's claims of mediation between India and Pakistan and the alleged loss of military assets during Operation Sindoor. From the government side, the defense minister assured the opposition members that the government is ready to hold discussions on any matter and for as long as they want.
I want to assure all the members that all the issues they want to discuss will be discussed for as long as they want. We are ready to discuss everything as per the guidelines decided by the Speaker.
Despite assurances from the defense minister, the opposition continued sloganeering inside the house. The leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, accused the government of not letting the opposition members speak.
देखिए सवाल ये है कि जो हाउस में डिफेंस मिनिस्टर को बोलने देते हैं उनके लोगों को बोलने देते हैं मगर अगर विपक्ष का कोई कुछ कहना चाहता है तो अलाउड नहीं है मैं लीडर ऑफ अपोजिशन हूँ मेरा हक है तो मुझे तो कभी बोलने ही नहीं देते हैं तो ये एक नया अप्रोच है.
Meanwhile, in the Rajya Sabha, the upper house, the chairman acknowledged the opposition's demand for a debate but rejected calls for the Prime Minister's immediate participation. And the day also witnessed strong reactions on the preliminary report of the Air India flight crash. Responding to questions, the Union Civil Aviation Minister defended the government's approach to the investigation. He urged patience until the final report is released.
What we have done, what the AIB has done, in fact, through the preliminary report is to kind of address what happened. Based on the facts it found out, to come out with the suggestions or to come out with the exact cause of what happened and to come out with the further future action on, it can be the Boeing 787 or the series or the fuel switches and many things which have come under question, or the avionics which you have also mentioned in your question. To have a definitive answer and a definitive future correction measures, we have to look at the final report, sir.
But as the Parliament struggled to return to business, the opposition showed no signs of relenting. Eventually, day one of the monsoon session of the Indian Parliament was washed out with both houses adjourned for the day.
And Dr. Jayashree.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President-elect of the United States, the Honorable Donald John Trump.
6 months into Donald Trump's comeback, America and the global order are unrecognizable in a way. Approval ratings fluctuating, markets soaring, but beneath the surface lies a calculated storm reshaping wars, trade, borders, politics. Friends and foes both are in the firing line as the US president toes the America First line. Our next report telling you more.
We achieved more in 6 months than almost any administration could accomplish in 8 years.
Right from Inauguration Day, Donald Trump set in motion a systemic overhaul, signing a mountain of executive orders. Immigration crackdown was at the top of his agenda, accompanied by a bid to end birthright citizenship. Trump also established the Elon Musk-led Doge. For most of February, the US president passed more executive orders. But the avalanche of these orders was met with equal force, with many lawsuits against most of the US administration's policy decisions. By the time February ended, all everyone could talk about was the infamous clash between Trump and his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky at the Oval Office. Come March, Trump announced 25% tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada as a move against drug trafficking and immigration. But as days passed, a scandal rocked the administration. The Yemen war chat leak, revealed by the editor of The Atlantic magazine, shook Trump's core cabinet. April began with a market bloodbath. Moments after Donald Trump, in the gardens of the White House, announced a long list of reciprocal tariffs against America's trade partners. Trump called it Liberation Day, but just a few days later suspended the tariffs for 90 days to allow countries a chance to negotiate. New month, new standoff. As the US president targeted top Ivy League universities, the rift with Harvard in particular divided American society. The Trump administration sent a list of orders to Harvard. The institution chose to defy them and stood its ground, but lost government grants in the process. From here began public discourse and dissent over academic freedom and inclusivity. June witnessed a very public fallout between Trump and his once close ally, billionaire Elon Musk. Musk lashed out at Trump's big beautiful bill, calling it a disgusting abomination. The US president saw Musk's critique as a personal vendetta for the EV mandate. But by mid-June, attention shifted to the Israel-Iran war, as Trump and his administration scrambled to negotiate peace, but not before getting directly involved in bombing Iran's nuclear facilities. By the end of June, Trump announced a ceasefire between Iran and Israel. It is July. The US president has still not succeeded in ending the Russia-Ukraine war. Tariff negotiations are still ongoing with some nations, while others have been handed out letters. Markets have stabilized after April's volatility, but Americans are unhappy with Trump's approach to economic policies, particularly inflation. Controversies are raging on issues like the Epstein files, and cases still remain in court. Many policies face nationwide injunctions. The US president's ratings across several polls has declined. Voices from within the Republican camp and the larger MAGA movement are critical of many of his decisions. But Trump remains confident of retaining control in the midterm elections next year. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
And for more on this, joining us on the broadcast is Eugene Craig, political analyst. He's joining us from Washington, D.C. Eugene, a lot to unpack here, but if I were to first ask you to assess Trump 2.0's performance specifically as far as the economy is concerned, how would you grade the performance? Because let's face it, there have been a lot of questions that have been asked, a lot of criticism. At the same time, there's also been some sort of defense that's been coming in from the Trump cabinet, specifically over that issue.
Look, in Trump's first term, he wrecked the economy, and he's doing his best now in his second term to do the same thing. These tariffs, these fake trade deals, the damage that he's doing to American producers on the other end of trade deals, it's all harm. It's all harm. He told folk that it would be carnage if he didn't win, but what he's proven to show is actual carnage, being that he did win. These tariffs that he's throwing on our biggest trade partners are unfathomable. He's driving up the price of things, driving up inflation. The American dollar is down for the first time in 50 years for the first 6 months of the year. What we've seen from this Trump administration is that, we at least thought they had like some semblance of understanding economics. What we're seeing now is that they don't have they don't understand economics. They don't care to understand economics. And more importantly, they don't care that they're hurting the American people in real time.
Right. Let's just also then focus on the other key aspect when it comes to foreign policy. Also that question of how the Russia-Ukraine war continues to drag on. It's been 6 months. Donald Trump, before he took over, had promised that he could end the war in just 24 hours.
Water's wet and Donald Trump lied. He had no intent or plan to end the war in 24 hours. He owes Putin a lot. And so, he's not going to do what's necessary to actually empower Ukraine to fully end the war as it needs to end. Thank God that the EU is there and stepping up to the plate in real time to make sure Ukraine has everything possible to fight Russia in real time.
Eugene Craig, leaving it there for the moment. Thanks very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
U.S. President Donald Trump is making headlines also for sharing a controversial AI-generated video depicting the arrest of his predecessor, Barack Obama. And this video posted to Trump's Truth Social account showing a digitally altered scene of FBI agents handcuffing Obama in the Oval Office, with Trump himself watching and smiling. The clip ends with Obama behind bars in an orange prison jumpsuit. And what's even more bizarre is that there is no disclaimer that the video is fictional. Critics are calling it deeply irresponsible and dangerously misleading, especially during the recent politically charged climate. The release of this video comes just days after the U.S. Director of National Intelligence alleged that top Obama-era officials orchestrated a years-long coup to derail Trump's presidency after 2016. She said she has overwhelming evidence. But a newly declassified 114-page report from her own office appears to undercut those claims. According to the report, U.S. intelligence agencies assessed that Russia was probably not trying to influence the election through cyber means prior to the 2016 vote. A draft of the president's daily brief, which dates back to the 8th of December 2016, even concluded that Russian cyber activity did not impact the recent U.S. election results. Democratic Senator Mark Warner, who is a top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, responded sharply, calling it one more example of the Director of National Intelligence trying to cook the books, quote unquote. And this also comes as the Trump administration faces intensifying scrutiny over the long classified Jeffrey Epstein files. Critics saying the AI video and the broader messaging campaign around it are intended to redirect attention. The broader context here is hard to ignore. In May 2024, Trump was convicted on 34 felony counts. related to falsifying business records. This is the first time in history that a US president has been found guilty of felony crimes. He is currently appealing that conviction. A Supreme Court ruling in 2023 has further complicated the legal landscape, granting presidents broad immunity for official acts committed while in office. For now, Trump's video continues to trend online, while the truth behind these competing claims is still coming into the focus. In a fresh jolt to the Japanese government, in fact, the ruling LDP and its coalition partners failed to secure a majority in the 248-seat upper house in a crucial parliamentary election. Ishiba's Liberal Democratic Party and its junior ally, Komito, won 47 seats, 3 seats short for a majority in the upper house. The poor show leaves Ishiba's coalition vulnerable to no confidence motion and makes it a minority in both houses, following its October defeat in the lower house polls. Despite the loss, Ishiba expressed determination to stay on. Shortly after the results, the Japanese Prime Minister told a news conference that he would remain in office to oversee the tariff talks with the United States and other pressing matters like rising consumer prices.
I am not currently thinking of a deadline of when I will continue till as Prime Minister. As I mentioned earlier, we will do our utmost to find a way to resolve imminent issues such as the US tariff measures, rising prices, natural disasters that could happen tomorrow, and the most complex and challenging security environment of the post-war era.
The defeat worsens Japan's political instability. Ishiba's coalition has been stung by past corruption scandals, and his unpopular government has since been forced into making concessions to the opposition to get legislation through the parliament. It has been unable to quickly deliver effective measures to mitigate rising prices, including Japan's traditional staple of rice and dwindling wages. Shifting focus for now, the people of Japan are not surprised after the country's ruling coalition lost control of the upper house, in fact, further weakening the Prime Minister's grip on power. Let's just listen in to some of the reactions coming in.
I don't know how Shigeru Ishiba, can take responsibility after losing so badly, but I think he should quit.
I think the ruling party had great opportunities, such as US President Donald Trump's outrage and the soaring rice prices. Had the ruling party resolved even one of these issues, their approval rate, would have gone up, but we didn't feel anything, and it seems like the US would continue to push us around.
His, Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, looks and his eyes are a bit trails off. Although there's nothing that can be done about that, I did have the impression that his thoughts were disorganized.
It's going to be difficult. The opposition parties won't listen to the LDP. They will take advantage of LDP's current unpopularity. So I think it's going to be difficult for them.
I think the government should tax people in a more effective way. It should tax the people who are earning a lot. For those people who are not earning much, it's best if there is a way for them to not suffer.
On to Australia now. The Labour government getting a major boost in public support. This less than 3 months after the election victory and a day ahead of the first session of the Parliament. The Prime Minister's Labour government is seeing a rare surge in the approval ratings. According to the latest news poll, Labour's primary vote has risen to 36%, a 1.4-point gain since its election win on the 3rd of May. On the other hand, the opposition coalition has fallen to just 29%. That's the lowest primary vote ever recorded for the coalition in news poll history since 1985. The data also showing a wider trend. Voter support for the two major parties is shrinking. Labour and the coalition now accounting for just 65% of the combined primary vote. This is the lowest ever recorded. The Greens hold steady at 12%, while One Nation has ticked up to 8%, a rise of 1.6 points. Independents and minor parties remain stable at 15%. On leadership, Prime Minister Albanese's net approval rating is at break-even. 47% of the voters now approve of his performance, while an equal number remain dissatisfied. The release of the survey coincides with the official opening of Australia's 48th Parliament that is scheduled to convene on the 22nd of July. Labour currently holding a commanding 94 seats in the 150-member House of Representatives, having a comfortable majority as the new session starts. In a case that sparked national and global outrage, prominent Kenyan activist has been released on bail. The Nairobi court has dropped controversial terrorism charges against him. A well-known government critic now facing a lesser charge of unlawful possession of ammunition. The move comes after deadly anti-government protests swept the country in recent weeks. The violence left dozens dead, thousands of businesses destroyed.
I think we terrorize humans. Because you're terrorizing Ruto's heart, and Ruto knows that he's going home, because Ruto is a real terrorist.
The activist chanted, "Ruto must go," in court, pleaded not guilty and was released on a bail bond. Speaking outside the court, he accused the president of fearing the country's youth. In fact, human rights groups have condemned what they call a heavy-handed government response to dissent, including the widespread use of terrorism charges against protesters. The activist was detained on Saturday. Mass protests first erupted in Kenya in June 2024 over tax hikes and reignited last month amid widespread reports of police violence and illegal detentions. Rights groups estimating that over 100 people have been killed by the police during the protests. Meanwhile, the government data showing only 42 deaths. On that note, it's a wrap on this edition for now. This is me, Molly Kampir, signing off. Thanks for watching.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
YO1 Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to YO1 Health Resort. Make your reservation at yo1.com.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of. A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA. Join the conversation.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories.